My name is Darren Sylvester and I'm at Sullivan+Strumpf Gallery in Sydney. This is a new exhibition of photographs and sculptures, bronzes and fabric work, and 6 photographs. There's 3 elements to the show. There is bronzes, which are based on cosmetics, usually Asian whitening and moisturizing masks, which have then turned into bronzes, and a fabric work called Space Blanket, which is the same materials as an astronaut's spacesuit, and is the combination of the 27 layers, is the strongest and best material to protect us from the universe known to man, which was invented by DuPont in the 60s. And we also have some photographs which I wanted to play with the idea of telepathy, or to give form to the formless, and the idea of communicating with our minds like prayer or something like that to another person. And they're all shot in camera with no Photoshop, and I literally wanted to give form to the formless because we printed up these black rings that are then out of focus. And they drift in and out here in front of these people. The bronze masks, I had made a series similar to this in about 2007, which were wood carvings. The concept here remains the same, except I decided to do bronzes. Another output and another medium that would also speak of the same things, much like a tribal wooden mask. Now we're talking about the Bronze Age and sort of golden masks. I find these kind of tribal-esque designs in magazines, in beauty magazines. And what's interesting is that they're designed to avoid wrinkles, and then a graphic designer would have designed these masks to give them the look of a faux imaginary tribe which has suddenly been discovered. So I buy the masks, put them on a mannequin, photograph that mannequin, and then I make it, carve it, in this case out of plaster, and I exaggerate the forms a little bit. So we're getting a tribal mask, but it's actually been designed by a Procter & Gamble or Otsuka Pharmaceuticals graphic designer somewhere in Osaka. And so I've extended that and turned it into a plaster. It's sanded over many months, and then it is covered with wax, and the wax is pulled off, which creates literally a wax mask, and that is then cast in the kiln. And a funny advantage is that when you pull it off and then we polish the outside, we get this very like a taut, Botoxed skin, but we leave the inside alone, and therefore it looks like it's the burnt husk and the burnt inside, from the kiln, and we leave that alone, so it's black on the reverse. It's then polished over a number of weeks to get that kind of gleaming finish. It's expensive, unfortunately. I didn't know how expensive it was, but it's expensive. It takes 2 weeks of grinding and polishing to get it that way. But it's, we've dropped them on the concrete accidentally, and nothing happens to them. So I like them in the sense that I wanted a bronze with one word in the medium that was going to last forever, unlike we will. And conversely, the Space Blanket, I liked it because it has 18 mediums. It has Kevlar, all these kind of Gore-Tex and so on, that have all been invented by pharmaceutical companies as well. So technically, each layer from the blanket was bought from an American company that makes the NASA spacesuits. Well, yeah, I guess mortality is the one constant we all have as humans, from the Ice Age to the Bronze Age to the Space Age. And so the history of the show is telling time from then to then. So it goes from the cosmetic masks all the way back to a Tutankhamun-esque bronze mask. The idea of the gleaming golden visage is what I thought would be a good starting point, and then moving forward into sort of this pathetic space race of a spacesuit, which also could protect us, but then by turning it into a doona, it also becomes maternal. It also becomes a childlike safety blanket. And as we run from mortality, then you know, a childlike blanket is probably one of the main things we'd want to return to. And we fear not being understood, and we fear dying alone, and I think that's where the photographs come in as well, because each of these characters are having an internal dialogue to something out there which we don't know what it is. And we're all frightened of these things because we don't know what's on the other side. So we're talking to ourselves like prayer to a degree, for a bus to stop, or a lover to come back, or to not be afraid. But we can try and slow that down with as much Procter & Gamble cosmetics creams as we like, and we can protect ourselves under a blanket as we try and in vain go into space. But unfortunately the result is the same for all of us.